Please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Mayor Gillock.
Thanks, Rick.
Sorry, it was so short.
No, that's right. I should have did my speech, wrote my speech after everybody else got done. There's a lot of other things that we could get into that are occurring in North Ridgeville. Just a couple really quick items that I wanted to mention. We've been involved with looking at windmills for about 5 years. We even looked at potentially investing $50,000 in just a research project to put one up. We didn't feel we wanted to spend that money based on the return that we would get on our investment. But we did look at a lot of the pros and cons of it. And besides the things that Jennifer mentioned, you got things like flicker factors and the ice that flies off of them. So there's a lot of issues there. Some of the other things that North Ridgeville does, we've already done an energy audit of all of our buildings. We recycle spare tires twice a year. There's a lot of things that we do. But I'll get back to my script here, if I may. And I really wanted to talk a little bit about business attraction and retention, the pros and cons, and then I'll relate it to some of the renewable energy that we've been involved in. And our administration has been really busy working with businesses, but it's not easy. There's a multitude of roadblocks, challenges, difficulties in bringing a new business in and bringing it to fruition. And I'll just describe real quick just a few. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit this evening. Sometimes our zoning code makes it real difficult. Business zones are not, our business zones, B1, B2, B3, which the master plan is looking at consolidating, are not too bad. We have them in the Center Ridge Road area and I-480. But when you get into the industrial area, which is really what we're talking about, light industry, something like that, we're really limited. We have I-2 and I-3 along our railroad tracks, but we don't have any utilities there. You know, so what good is that? So that's a cost item that if you ever got a business that really wanted to locate here, you got to get sewers and so forth to them. We also have some property off of Race Road that would be really great, except it's landlocked and there's no roads back there. So you always have issues like that. Our councils are not always supportive, and I'm not just talking about this council. Over the years, we've had difficulties at times. You know, we've had several businesses over the years that have met our zoning codes that because of public opinion, they ran into a lot of roadblocks. So we always run into things like that. And we have competition with other cities. Abatements, TIFs, city-funded low-interest loans, profit and payroll tax exemptions, stock option exemptions, free land, free buildings, free rent, and other incentives continue to make it really difficult to locate a desirable business in your city. I just got a lead yesterday on a new business, and we are connected with the state through a website called Procure that Denny really takes care of. But I wanted to just kind of quote to you a little bit. One of them we got yesterday, and when these leads come out, they tell you what kind of business, what their demands might be, what they're really looking for. It says, in addition to meeting the specific physical site requirements, this business is looking at the net cost of doing business will be the key driver. And right off the bat, that tells you they're looking for incentives. Communities having the lowest overall cost of doing business offset by maximum economic development incentives will be considered. So again, they're telling you, pull out all the stops if you want to talk to us. And the last sentence that they had says, avoid municipalities with heavy regulations. And to me, that's really telling. You know, my first reaction is, do I want a business that puts that on their lead sheet? You know, and the last item that I had written down real quickly, some of the cons, is assistance through the state is often very paper and time intensive. There is assistance there, but the applications are cumbersome, very often very lengthy, and it takes a lot of time. On the other side of the hand, we do have some tools that we can work with. Most of what we have are the same tools that most other cities around us have, and actually some of them have more than we do. But our council can move fairly quickly when it wants to. Dealing with incentives can be quite time consuming, and a new business wanting to relocate, timing is really critical. You know, they want to do something, they want to do it now. They don't want to wait till it goes to council, then it gets referred to committee, and then it comes back, and you vote on it, and then you send it to planning. You know, by then they've moved on. They can't wait. Time is money. And our council can move fairly quickly when it wants to. We have a very strong, capable building department that is really helpful to our businesses. We get compliments all the time on how they really help businesses get through the maze of regulations. Our county Department of Development and Team Lorain County, of which I am a board member, have been real helpful in identifying means of assistance and working with the state to obtain job tax credits, community development block grant ED funds, and so forth. But if we are to attract new businesses in the alternative energy field or green businesses, we'll need to rely on those entities even more. They're going to have to help us because we're really limited to what we can do locally. We can do a couple types of abatements. We can do enterprise abatements, which do go through the county. It takes quite a while. But we can also do what are called CRA abatements, which just take council's approval. So we can react very quickly there. I'm currently introducing legislation because of an account we're working on that would give us the ability to exempt stock options from our income tax requirements. And this has become an issue with a potential new manufacturing firm, and it's offered in a competing city. And you know, I talked to our auditors. We looked at stock options and what it means to us now, which isn't really significant. So if it's something that we might be able to do, the state code says you must include stock options, but as a charter city, we have the ability to exempt that. So we're looking at things like that. But I wanted to add that larger cities, such as Elyria and Lorain, are what are known as entitlement cities. You know, and they get CDB, Community Development Block Grant funds, which are unrestricted, where we get a small amount, but ours are very restricted to seniors, low income, ADA. Theirs are more unrestricted, and they can set up low interest loan programs. So when they get a business like we have a business wanted to move here from the Cleveland area, they come out and say, can you help me with my moving expenses? They can do that, we can't. So that's the kind of things that we run into. The last thing that I wrote down that was really a plus to us is that our taxes are very low for right now. Our property tax, the last time we looked, the Plain Dealer published them, we were right in the middle of the pack, maybe a little bit on the low side, which is favorable. But our municipal income tax is only 1%, and we're like one of the last ones in the state. The average is over 2%. But that's a very competitive tool for us right now. So that just kind of gives you an idea of some of the pros and cons of what I call BEAR, business expansion, attraction, and retention. We want to keep the businesses we have, we want to help them grow, and we want to attract new businesses. Now I wanted to give you some concrete examples of some of the businesses that we've worked on or that are looking at North Ridgeville. And I'm just talking of the, for the most part, industrial or manufacturing, you know, the larger type businesses. We worked with a firm that actually John Bukowski brought to our attention first, called EchoStar Biodiesel. It was a firm that was a startup that really wanted to get into manufacturing a diesel fuel additive, similar to the ethane for gas or ethanol, something similar to that. The gentleman's had some really difficult times over the years raising his money and getting it off the ground. So we worked on that one for a while. I haven't heard from him for quite a while, so it's basically gone away, but that was a renewable energy firm that we worked with. We continue to work on one called Project Storm. Within the last week, we've got